When they told me that they even make their own hairsprings in-house for this price point, I was shocked. Привет и добро пожаловать в Swiss Watch Gang. Сегодня мы говорим о Raketa Watches. Hello guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome today to a very special review. We're gonna discover Raketa Watches and in particular, 3 very cool models. For those of you who like the channel, you know that we like to discover new brands. And also, we like to go outside of Switzerland to check out what other countries are doing. We featured brands on the channel before from Japan, Germany, Austria and also Russia. I'm a fan of Russian watchmaking, in particular Konstantin Chaikin, as I own a Joker watch myself. Today's independent watch brand is from St. Petersburg, Russia, and they've been around for a long time. The Raketa models we're going to discover today are the Russian Code, the Leopard 24 and also one of my favorites, the Avantgarde model. The history of the company goes all the way back to 1721 when Peter the Great established the Imperial Peterhof factory. They started cutting precious stones and stones like marble for the royals, different private and public establishments, and they also crafted objects as well as luxury goods in general. In 1938, the factory began to manufacture ruby stones for watches. Yes, ruby stones. In 1945, the Kremlin ordered the company to create the Pobeda watch. Pobeda in Russian means victory. The name Raketa was actually only established after Yuri Gagarin, the first human to travel to space, wore a Pobeda watch. They renamed the brand Raketa, which means rocket in Russian. In the past as well as today, polar explorers still use Raketa watches on their explorations. After the fall of the Soviet Union, it was a problematic period for the company, and in 2014 they established the latest automatic movement. Today the brand is successfully led by David Henderson Stewart, who is a great man, very cool guy, and I think the future of the brand is in sure hands. This year in 2021, Raketa watches are actually celebrating 2 very special moments. First of all, 300 years of the establishment of Peter the Great and 60 years of the Raketa brand. So be sure to follow the brand because they will drop a special edition very soon and it's gonna commemorate this whole anniversary. What's very unique about Raketa watches is that they actually create all the movements in-house, from start to finish. They even make their own hairsprings, which is seen only by a few Swiss manufacturers today. If you consider that the watches start at 750 euros, which is around $880 US, with their own hairspring manufactured in-house, this is incredible. For that price you can get the Big Zero model, which is the start of their collection, and also it's an iconic timepiece known from the 80s. Raketa watches start with 0, not with 12 on top. It's very logical if you think about it, because if you count time, it starts at 0, not at 12. To produce each watch, there's a total of 8,021 operations that need to be made. And when you buy one of these watches, you actually get a photo of somebody working at the factory who was a part of your watch. For example, here we have 2 photos of 2 people working at the factory. This gentleman over here is named Yuri. It says that he produced the oscillating weight of the movement in your watch. He has worked at the Raketa watch factory since 1984. The lady on this picture, her name is Natalia, and she controlled the quality of all the wheels in the movement of your watch. She worked at Raketa watch factory since 1991. Also, what you get with each watch is this little flyer. It's actually an invitation, so everybody who wants to visit the Raketa watch factory can do so. You just have to go on their website or send them an email that you want to visit them at factory@raketa.com. Pretty simple. Or you just scan this QR code. Again, the packaging of these watches and also this personal note with 2 people working on your watches is very unusual for the Swiss watch industry. And I quite like this approach. It makes the purchase more personal. And also, you know, if you buy this watch, whose salary will you basically also fund, which is really cool to see. The first model we'll look into is the Russian Code. It's a very special model actually, and let me tell you guys why. You see, at first glance it doesn't seem like an unusual watch, right? You have a 0 on top, which is, like I said, a design language of Raketa watches, and the numerals don't go the clockwise direction, they actually go counterclockwise. Raketa draws inspiration from space, exploration, important people from the past, and also Russian culture. This watch is from the Curiosity collection, that's why it has this counterclockwise time display. Actually, when you wear this watch for a few days you get used to it, but at the beginning it might look a bit confusing. So why did they decide to do it counterclockwise? It's actually very logical. At the beginning, when sundials were invented, people were calculating the passage of time from left to right, so from sunrise to sunset. They thought to themselves, okay, the sun is rotating around the earth. So when the sun comes up, we start counting the day. When it goes down, we start counting the nighttime. But actually the earth rotates counterclockwise around the sun. So measuring the time with this sunrise-sunset indication at the beginning seems a bit wrong now. And on the dial you have the earth, and the seconds hand, the tip of it, is actually the moon. So the moon rotates around the earth counterclockwise as well. In the middle of the dial you have the globe with Russia, of course, in the middle and the North Pole on top. There's an arrow crossing the globe on which it says Сделано в России, which means made in Russia, and it shows you in which direction the earth actually rotates. Below it you have an inscription which says limited edition, and around the applied brown numerals you can actually find the constellations which you can see at nighttime in the sky. The hour, minute and seconds hand feature luminova, so you can see the watch also when it gets dark. And again, I just like the appeal of this model. As you can see, the watch features no bezel from the front, and the sapphire crystal is actually domed. Due to the domed sapphire crystal and also the in-house movement, the thickness of the watch is 16.55 millimeters. The diameter is 40.5 millimeters. Lug to lug we have 45 millimeters, and if you want to change the strap, the lug width is 22 millimeters. Turning the watch around, you can see we have a glance of the movement here. There's a little porthole from which you can see the balance wheel when you turn the rotor around, and the balance wheel is actually quite big. The balance wheel oscillates at 18,000 vibrations per hour or 2.5 Hz. The movement features 24 rubies, like all of the other movements of Raketa watches, 40 hours of power reserve, and if you turn the watch around and you see the oscillating weight, it actually features a special decoration. It's called the Neva stripes. Neva is the fourth largest river in Europe, and it runs through St. Petersburg. What's cool about this movement also is that if you want to wind it, you don't turn it clockwise, but counterclockwise, of course. And if you want to change the time, you have to turn the crown clockwise. So let me give you a few examples here of how to read the time. If we stop the crown now, you'll actually see that it's 17 minutes past 5 o'clock. Next to the applied hour markers, you also have the inscription for the minutes. So this makes reading the time at the beginning also easier. If we now turn the crown to a different position, let's say right here, you'll see that it's 2 o'clock and 50 minutes. And the seconds hand rotates in this direction. Again, after a time, you get used to it. And it's also a neat party trick if you want to mess with your friends. You give them the watch, you ask them what the time is, and they look at you like you're some kind of a weirdo. This model comes in two different versions. This rose gold plated version, which is a limited edition of 300 pieces, as well as the black PVD version, which is also a limited edition of 300 pieces. The price in euros is 1,380 or approximately 1,616 US dollars, including 20% VAT and worldwide shipping free with DHL. The next watch we're going to take a closer look at is the Leopard 24. The box is very special, it has a nice, very soft suede material here. There's an insignia of the Leopard submarine, which authenticates the original components of this watch, which we'll come to a bit later. You have a rubber strap with it and also a changing tool for the strap. This watch is a very practical dial. It's actually a 24-hour dial. You don't see this quite often. It starts here at 0, goes clockwise like normal watches, not like the Russian code, and it starts with 22, 23, 24. This is a very useful complication. At a quick glance, you know if it's daytime or if it's nighttime. So for people working on a submarine, this is a perfect dial. What's also very special about this watch, that the bezel, you can see it from the side here, is slightly bead blasted, and also it's a very special engraving on the inner side of the bezel. It's actually a metal part from a very specific Leopard K321 submarine. It's a Russian nuclear submarine, and because they're restoring it now, the shipyard actually gave Raketa Watches some parts and they made this beautiful bezel with it. The hour and minute hand replicate the hands which are used in the control panel of the submarine and also feature luminova. Around the dial you see 6 lines, gray and red. This was actually used so the crew members would see when the shifts start and end. Turning the watch around, you can see the case is also a bit thicker, like on the Russian code one. Again, Russian watches are made to be simple, they are made to be robust, so they can withstand the test of time. The thickness of the case is 14.25 millimeters. The diameter on this model is 44 millimeters. Lug to lug we have 50.4 millimeters. and the lug width, again, like on the other one, is 22 millimeters. Because this is a professional watch used in submarines, the water resistance is 200 meters. When we turn the watch around, you can see that the movement is very nicely decorated. We find guilloche patterns on the bridge of the movement as well as on the rotor, which is colored. The screws are also colored red. Again, if you think about the price point of Raketa watches and how much they make in-house, and that they even make special movements for each watch to fit its story, is remarkable. This movement also beats at 18,000 vibrations per hour or 2.5 Hz and has a power reserve of 40 hours, all made in St. Petersburg, Russia. This model is also a limited edition of 300 pieces. The price is 1,550 euros or approximately 1,815 US dollars, again including 20% VAT and also of course worldwide free shipping. The last but definitely not least watch I'm going to present to you guys today is one of my favorites on this table. It's the Avantgarde watch. This is something I really like because it's very quirky, it's very special, and I've never seen a watch which looks anything similar to this. The Avantgarde model and also the hands they use here date from the 1980s. It's something I particularly like, and I think it would be a nice daily watch, or if you want to, surprise a collector friend of yours. This watch was made to commemorate the Avantgarde period and how Russian art made an impact around the world. The watch uses abstract design elements, as you can clearly see on the numerals and the hands, and it's meant to be a art in motion, so to speak. So basically, when the time changes, the, let's say, painting or the art piece also changes. The seconds hand is aligned with a pointer at the end, the hour hand is a triangle, and the minute hand is a big circle with a little tip at the end. Around the periphery of the dial you have the markers for the 15, 30, 45 and 60 minute, which reminds me of a crosshair. The dial starts counting at 0 as all Raketa watches do, and you can see there's a special font used for the numerals and the indexes. I like the readability of the dial and also the contrast of all the colors. The diameter of the case is 40.5 millimeters, lug to lug you have 45 millimeters. The lug width is 22 millimeters, and when we turn the watch around you can also see that this one features a domed sapphire crystal as well. This makes the watch 16.55 millimeters thick. It's actually the same case as in the Russian code. Turning the watch around, you will again notice that the movement and the rotor are specially finished for this watch. There's a matte finish to the rotor with some nice design elements. Again, Raketa сделано в России on the rotor itself, which is bidirectional, by the way. You can see the balance wheel beating here at 6 o'clock with 18,000 vibrations per hour, again 2.5 Hz, and it has a 40-hour power reserve. This model is a limited edition again of 300 pieces, but if you want a more discreet version, you can also get one which isn't coated. It's actually just in stainless steel. The price of this particular one is 1,350 euros or approximately 1,580 US dollars, again including 20% VAT. If you think about the price point of Raketa watches, how much is made in-house, and what you guys get, it's really a great deal. Since I got these watches for the review, I've been wearing them quite a lot. It's cool if you buy multiple Raketa watches to fit each different occasion. So for example, if I go out with my friends to have a few drinks, I would wear the Avantgarde collection. If I would have maybe a formal meeting or something, which would be more business-like, I would wear the Russian code because it looks like a rose gold watch. And if I would do some sporty activities, maybe go hiking or meet somebody who likes sports and military stuff, I would wear the Leopard 24. And again, because the price points are very accessible if you think about independent watchmaking, buying 3 different watches doesn't break the bank that much. Of course, all the watches come with a warranty and you can always service the watches in Europe. You don't necessarily have to ship them to St. Petersburg, Russia, so don't worry about that. And because the brand is gaining recognition and more people want to buy one, I'm sure the future is secured. Because each watch is so special and all of them have a special story, I really advise you to go check out the Raketa website, the social media accounts, which I'll all link in the description below. At this point, I also want to thank Raketa Watches for sponsoring this video and making videos like this happen. Let me know in the comment section below which model would you choose for yourself, or if you have some questions for the brand. I'll make sure that they'll keep an eye on the comment section and answer any requests. Like and share this video with somebody who likes watches as much as you do, or who might find interest in Russian watchmaking like the Raketa watches here. Thank you guys for watching. And as always, I'll see you next week.